What if there were a hidden law, an esoteric code capable of unlocking your true purpose in life, a mystical principle that defies religious dogma, transcends morality, and promises ultimate spiritual freedom? For over a century, the Law of Thelema has intrigued and divided occultists, philosophers, and seekers of truth. But what does it really mean? Does it grant absolute freedom or impose a deeper responsibility? Does it lead to enlightenment or chaos? Today we journey into Liber AL vel Legis, the Book of the Law, the mysterious text revealed to Aleister Crowley by an unknown entity. Prepare to see reality through a lens that may forever change the way you perceive existence. To understand the Law of Thelema, we must first examine one of the most controversial figures in modern occultism. Aleister Crowley. In 1904, during a stay in Egypt, Crowley claimed to have received a divine revelation from an entity known as Aiwass. This being dictated what would become Liber AL vel Legis, the Book of the Law, a text that would form the foundation of Thelemic philosophy. The story begins in Cairo, where Crowley and his wife, Rose Edith Kelly, were engaged in mystical experiments. Without warning, Rose entered a trance and declared that an entity was waiting to communicate with them, insisting that the god Horus sought to deliver a message. Skeptical, Crowley tested her knowledge of Horus, demanding details she should not have known. To his astonishment, she answered correctly, describing iconography and attributes beyond her formal education. On April 8, 1904, Crowley secluded himself in a room and, over 3 days, transcribed a mysterious voice that identified itself as Aiwass, the messenger of the gods. The text he recorded contained radical proclamations, foretelling a new era in human spirituality, known as the Aeon of Horus. This new age, according to the Book of the Law, would mark the end of oppressive religious dogmas and usher in an era where true will, one's deepest, most authentic purpose, would become the guiding force of human evolution. Not surprisingly, Crowley's revelation was met with both awe and condemnation. To some, he was a prophet of a new age. To others, a fraud or a madman. Yet, Thelema's influence spread, seeping into esoteric orders, philosophy, and even popular culture. Whether divine truth or mere delusion, Liber AL vel Legis remains one of the most enigmatic and controversial texts in the history of mysticism. At the core of Thelema lies one of the most enigmatic and misunderstood statements in occult philosophy. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. These words, dictated by Aiwass to Aleister Crowley, form the foundation of Thelemic thought, but their true meaning is often lost in misinterpretation. To the uninitiated, this phrase may sound like a call for unchecked hedonism, a justification for lawlessness, or selfish indulgence. But in reality, its message is far more profound. In Thelemic philosophy, do what thou wilt does not mean acting on fleeting desires or impulsive cravings. Instead, it refers to true will, the deeper spiritual purpose that each individual is meant to fulfill. True will is not dictated by personal whims or social expectations. It is a cosmic alignment, an inner directive that reveals one's ultimate role in the vast, interconnected universe. To discover true will, Thelemites must strip away external conditioning, false identities, and societal programming. This requires intense self-exploration, ritual practice, and disciplined magical work. Crowley compared this concept to the orbits of celestial bodies. Each star follows its natural course, without clashing or interfering with others. When every individual follows their true will, harmony emerges naturally, without the need for moral imposition or restrictive laws. Yet, this path is not one of reckless freedom. It is a sacred responsibility. True will is not dictated by fleeting pleasures, but by a profound sense of purpose. To act against it is to drift into chaos, confusion, and suffering. This is why Thelema challenges its followers. Are you truly ready to live according to your true will? For those who dare to seek it, the reward is absolute freedom. But for those who misunderstand it, Thelema becomes nothing more than an illusion, an excuse for indulgence without wisdom. And that, Crowley warned, leads only to destruction. Alongside the infamous "do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," another phrase completes the foundation of Thelema. Love is the law, love under will. At first glance, this may seem like a simple exaltation of love. perhaps even a poetic complement to the first law, but its meaning runs far deeper. In Thelemic philosophy, love is not merely an emotion, nor is it bound to personal relationships. Love is a universal force, the energy that binds all things together, the very essence of creation itself. Yet, Thelema warns, love must exist under will. This means love is not meant to be blind, chaotic, or uncontrolled. It must align with true will, acting as an instrument of harmony rather than a reckless passion. Crowley described this principle through the concept of polarity and balance. Just as celestial bodies maintain their orbits through attraction and force, love must be conscious, directed, and rooted in higher purpose. To love under will is to love in a way that is pure, free, and in alignment with one's destiny. This applies not just to romantic love, but to all interactions, relationships, and spiritual connections. In this light, Thelema redefines morality, not as an external system of imposed rules, but as an internal realization of how one's actions align with true will. The symbol of this principle is Nuit, the infinite goddess of the stars, whose love is boundless and all-encompassing. Nuit calls upon her followers to merge with the cosmos, to dissolve the false ego, and to experience divine unity through love. This is the paradox of Thelema. Love is freedom, yet it is also discipline. It is surrender, yet it is also power. It is chaotic, yet it is bound to cosmic order. To love under will is not merely to love, it is to become one with the universe itself. At the heart of Thelema lies Liber AL vel Legis, also known as the Book of the Law, a text Crowley claimed was dictated to him over 3 days in 1904 by the mysterious entity Aiwass. But the Book of the Law is no ordinary scripture. Unlike traditional religious texts, it does not offer commandments. It proclaims a new spiritual era. Each of its 3 chapters is said to have been dictated by a different divine intelligence, revealing a distinct aspect of Thelemic philosophy. Chapter 1, Nuit, the Infinite. The first chapter is attributed to Nuit, the goddess of the boundless cosmos. Nuit represents infinity, divine love, and the vast potential of existence. Her words exalt freedom, ecstasy, and the realization that every individual is a unique expression of the divine. She declares, "Every man and every woman is a star." This phrase encapsulates a core tenet of Thelema. Each individual has their own path, their own orbit, and must follow their true will without interference. Nuit calls upon seekers to shed limitations, embrace their divinity, and unite with the infinite. Chapter 2, Hadit, the Inner Fire. While Nuit represents the infinite, Hadit is its counterbalance, the singular point of awareness, the inner divine spark that drives existence forward. Hadit proclaims, "I am the flame that burns in every heart of man and in the core of every star." This chapter emphasizes self-discovery, movement, and the pursuit of experience. Hadit urges the seeker to live fully, without fear or repression, embracing the inner fire of transformation. Spiritual enlightenment, according to Thelema, is not about blind submission or passive worship. It is about direct experience. Hadit challenges followers to break free from external dogmas and explore their own limitless potential. Chapter 3, Rahur Quit, the Warrior's Path. The final chapter is dictated by Rahur Quit, a manifestation of the god Horus. His words are strikingly different from the previous 2 chapters, bold, forceful, and even combative. He declares the dawn of the Aeon of Horus, an era where the old religious systems crumble and humanity must embrace its own power. Unlike the previous eons, where obedience and sacrifice were emphasized, this new era calls for strength, self-mastery, and the fearless pursuit of true will. Rahur Quit is a symbol of overcoming weakness, breaking illusions, and forging a new reality through willpower. His words are often controversial, interpreted by some as a call for destruction and upheaval, but Thelemites view them as metaphors for personal transformation, destroying falsehoods to uncover deeper truth. Together, these 3 divine voices, Nuit, Hadit, and Rahur Quit, form the foundation of Thelema. They offer not commandments, but revelations, a guide for those who seek to break free from limitation, discover their divine purpose, and shape their own destiny. But how does one take these teachings and apply them in the real world? Thelema is not just a philosophy, it is a way of life, and those who dare to follow it must walk the path of true will. Thelema is not just a philosophy, it is a living system, a path meant to be practiced, not just studied. Unlike dogmatic religions that dictate morality through external rules, Thelema teaches that each individual must take responsibility for discovering and following their true will. But how does one apply this in daily life? The journey begins with introspection. To live in accordance with true will, one must strip away false identities, social conditioning, and external expectations. This process requires meditation, quieting the mind to hear the deeper voice within, journaling, the magical diary, recording thoughts, experiences, and patterns to reveal hidden truths, divination, tarot, astrology, or I Ching, seeking symbolic insights into the subconscious. Crowley himself emphasized the importance of rigorous self-exploration, believing that only through deep inner work can one uncover their authentic purpose. Knowledge is power, and Thelema requires study. Essential texts include Liber AL vel Legis, the Book of the Law, The Foundation of Thelema, Magic Without Tears, Crowley's explanations on Thelemic practice, The Tree of Life, Israel Regardie, A Guide to Western Esotericism. Understanding these works provides the theoretical foundation necessary to apply Thelema in practical life. Thelemites often engage in ritual practice to strengthen their alignment with true will. These rituals are not about superstition or blind faith. They serve as psychological and spiritual tools to refine focus and intent. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, LBRP, a purification ritual that clears negative influences. Invocation of the Holy Guardian Angel, a process of contacting the highest aspect of oneself. The Mass of the Phoenix, a personal ritual of self-transformation. These practices help Thelemites maintain clarity, discipline, and spiritual alignment in their daily lives. To follow true will is not to live without consequences. It is to accept full responsibility for one's path. Thelemic practice demands acting with integrity. Every action must align with true will. Respecting the freedom of others, just as every star follows its own orbit, Thelemites do not impose their will on others. Discipline and self-mastery. True will is not indulgence. It is conscious action directed toward one's highest purpose. Crowley warned that freedom without discipline leads to self-destruction. To live as a Thelemite is to embrace both liberty and accountability. True will is not limited to spiritual practice. It manifests in every aspect of life. Thelema teaches that one must strive for excellence in all endeavors, whether in art, science, work, or personal development. A true Thelemite does not live passively. They actively shape reality in alignment with their purpose, becoming a living expression of the Law of Thelema. True will is not static. It evolves as the seeker grows in wisdom and understanding. The path of Thelema is one of constant transformation, shedding illusions, refining knowledge, and stepping into higher levels of spiritual realization. To follow Thelema is not merely to believe in it, it is to become it. To walk the path of true will is to shape one's own destiny with clarity, power, and purpose. But Thelema has not been without controversy and misunderstanding. Many have twisted its meaning, reducing it to hedonism, rebellion, or even darker accusations. What are the most common misconceptions about Thelema, and why do so many fail to understand its true nature? Since its inception, Thelema has been shrouded in controversy, often misunderstood and misrepresented by critics and followers alike. One of the most persistent misconceptions is the idea that Thelema promotes lawlessness and unrestrained hedonism. To outsiders, the phrase, "do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," appears to encourage selfish indulgence, ignoring consequences. However, this interpretation fails to grasp the deeper meaning of true will. Thelema does not advocate for chaos or reckless pleasure-seeking. It demands discipline, self-awareness, and alignment with a higher purpose. True will is not dictated by impulse, but by a profound inner directive that leads to harmony rather than destruction. Another source of controversy is Aleister Crowley himself. His provocative writings, unconventional lifestyle, and deliberate rebellion against societal norms earned him the title of the wickedest man in the world. Crowley cultivated this image, often exaggerating his defiance of conventional morality, knowing that scandal would draw attention to his work. However, much of the criticism directed at him comes from those who take his words at face value, without understanding the deeper layers of his teachings. Thelema has also been falsely associated with Satanism. This is largely due to its rejection of traditional religious dogma and its use of esoteric symbolism. Thelemic rituals, like many occult practices, incorporate ancient symbols and deities that predate Christianity, leading to accusations of devil worship. In reality, Thelema is neither satanic nor anti-Christian. It is a system that promotes personal spiritual sovereignty rather than submission to any external authority. There is also confusion surrounding Thelema's stance on morality. Because it rejects imposed ethical systems, some assume it disregards morality altogether. This is incorrect. Thelema does not promote anarchy, but rather a system where each individual is responsible for their actions based on their own understanding of true will. It proposes an ethics of self-knowledge and conscious decision-making, where morality arises from within rather than from external commandments. Over the years, these misconceptions have been fueled by sensationalism, misinformation, and the misuse of Thelemic philosophy by certain individuals or groups. Some have twisted Crowley's teachings for personal gain, using Thelema as an excuse for self-indulgence without discipline or responsibility. Others have dismissed it entirely, fearing what they do not understand. Yet, at its core, Thelema is not about rebellion for its own sake, nor about blind devotion to Crowley. It is a path of personal discovery and transformation, designed to free the individual from ignorance and limitation. It is a philosophy that requires study, practice, and an unwavering commitment to truth. For those who seek to truly understand it, Thelema offers not an excuse for reckless freedom, but a challenge. The challenge to find and follow one's true will, no matter how difficult or demanding the path may be. Now that you have learned the foundation of Thelema, one question remains. What will you do with this knowledge? Your true will is already calling. The next step is yours. If you found value in this exploration, share your thoughts in the comments and help spread the wisdom of Thelema to those ready to walk the path of self-discovery. Thanks for watching.